Good evening, welcome to a Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, a little while ago I gave an example of what happened when someone was not forthcoming with all of the truth when they started online dating with someone. So it was the usual thing. I guess a photograph was put up on both sides. The man contacts the woman or the woman contacted the man. It doesn't really make any difference. But anyway, a relationship of a kind was formed. That led to, I'm guessing that there was no Skype for these two because of what eventually happened. But what happened was that when they met, it was discovered at the airport. The lady went to meet the man at the airport, a foreigner, and it turned out that she had a scar, actually from a hair lip operation when she was a child. Not sure how bad that was. I don't think it was a great deal, but the man gave her a sum of money and said, that's it, there is no relationship. And so she unfortunately, because of the way that things had been going, which had been quite well, she'd given up a job to join this man and was thinking that was it. When the man saw this scar, big or small, he terminated everything on the spot and said, no, that's not going to work for me. He gave her, I think the sum was 10,000 pesos, and that was the end of it. So this kind of thing would bring about different reactions in different people. A lot of people might say that he was superficial, that he shouldn't have really been interested in whether there was a tiny scar, and he shouldn't have been, it would seem like a callous thing to do, or just to stuff some money into a woman's hand and say goodbye. And then somebody else said, I wonder if it was anything like that. Maybe it was just that he didn't feel that he could trust someone who had lied to him about something that actually would immediately be apparent as soon as they met. Now, I had similar at one time and another when I was actually looking for someone. That creaking door is my wife creaking in behind me as if we can't hear her.
Sorry, darling.
That's all right, my dear. She's been out. What were you doing, honey?
Just getting golden.
You were getting golden. It was something really important. So, I had my own experiences where I would meet someone and there'd be nothing like the photograph. Didn't happen too often because after a while the only photograph that I would consider looking at was a snapshot. In other words, not something that was in a studio where all kinds of stuff could be done. So a plain, simple, untouched snapshot would seem to be the best way to go. Now the reason I'm talking about this is because it's the problem keeps coming up in terms of questions as to how one should proceed. And it seems obvious to me that honesty is the main important aspect of any relationship because it forms the basis of any future moments, times when real trust will be on the line. And that's what leads me to think and say, when I say that it's important to meet somebody who is on some kind of a spiritual path. Now, it's a given that if I'm talking to a man, it's a given that it's important that that you yourself are on some kind of spiritual path. If someone is watching me right now and thinking, well, no, I like to get down to the pub too much and sink a few beers every night, and I like a few different birds, and I don't mind paying for it. Well, you're obviously on the wrong page. You should be going somewhere else. I'm talking about someone who is looking for a serious, dedicated, committed relationship with someone that he could love for the rest of his life. That same text, that same script applies to any woman. Everything that you say and do right now is going to have to be justified, explained, faced later in this relationship that you're hoping is going to be a forever after, happy forever after kind of situation. So because of this, what is the only way? The only way that I can recommend, people ask me what about dating sites. The only dating site that I can think of that would make any difference to me if I were in that situation, which happily I'm not, would be a Christian dating site. And so you will see from time to time that there are links for a Christian dating site, and this is the one that I would suggest you at least start with, because if the person is declaring themselves, either way, if they're declaring themselves to be Christian, then to have a like belief will be most important. Now, some of you may say, well, I seem to remember that you and Beth did not have the same, what shall we say, the same name. Beth is a born-again Christian, and I was what I call a non-believer in organized religion, and that saying that on our channel created a long-lasting reputation for me of being a non-believer, period, which was totally untrue, totally incorrect. Since then, I've made things much easier by because of my commitment in many ways to the church that Beth goes to. I'm totally committed with the family. I pick up kids in my truck. That's my Sunday driving job, and I do whatever I can to get people to follow a spiritual path in their lives. That seems to me to be the way to happiness, and certainly by learning, for me, that started off by going to the Bible study center in Cebu. That is closed, unfortunately, now, but I did receive one-on-one instruction about the Bible, and I was especially interested in the teachings of Jesus Christ. So, of course, it was something that I was passionately interested in and had long intended to find out more about for a long time. So it wasn't so hard for me to make any transition. And then, as you may know, I read a book called The Case for Christ, and the case for Christ was put very powerfully by the author of that book, and as a result of it, I decided that I would become baptized. That's not happened yet, because I guess they're waiting for more than just little old me to pop down to the creek to dunk me, but it will happen eventually. So, to settle the point of whether you start off with a lie, no matter how explainable, is very important. Now, if you are, and I'm guessing that you must be interested in finding a relationship, finding a partner who is Filipino. Filipinos are Asian, right? Hispanic perhaps in some part, but essentially they're Asian, and they're Asian in thought, and that can be quite a difference in thinking, much more so than you might realize if you are not Asian. The thing about keeping face is very important, so it's very important not to offend people. And this causes Westerners to regard Filipinas and Filipinos as being, I don't know, afraid to confront, afraid to face up and, hey, something's not right, then you make a complaint and that's the only way it's going to change. And the Filipinas do not think this way. Their most important task during the day is to get through it without being in any kind of a confrontation with someone. So they will be willing to let go at their own cost many things, many situations which we as Westerners would not be willing to do. So when you come over here as a Westerner, you will be amazed at, well, you'll be saying to your partner, well, why didn't you tell him that that was wrong? Why didn't you stand up for yourself? Why didn't you, in other words, a confrontational way of approaching things? And it won't work with your lady. It just won't work. You may, it's possible you may have a 1 in a million who is westernized enough to get up there and say, wait a minute, this is not right. You know, walk into McDonald's and say, this is too long, you've kept me waiting 30 seconds and this is not fast food. I heard an American say this, a woman in London, long before I ever became acquainted with the Asian way of non-confrontation. So get ready for that, and get ready for a different way to approach what you and I might call the truth. Now, if when you're in the West you asked a lady out, this is how it used to be, of course, it's not anymore, right, but then I'm an old fart. If I asked a woman to go out and she didn't want to go out with me, she would say, no, I've got to wash my hair on Tuesday. So then, if I was a bit dumb, and was I ever, I would say, oh, what about Wednesday? No, I'm having my nails done on Wednesday. What about Thursday? I should have been hit on the head with whatever she was going to have done on Thursday. But anyway, that's what would happen. And that, in a way, is the Asian way of doing it. Say no. Well, try not to say no, and say, I have something to do on that day, and so I really can't there. They're trying to save you face, and they're trying to save their own. So get ready for a slight bending of the truth. It'll take some getting used to, and you will have to work at it. Meantime, I think a good start is to find someone who has a similar way of life, a similar path that they tread to you, be it Christian or anything else, Muslim or, heaven forbid, Buddhist or whatever, anything that is in tune with what you think and do, something that can easily be translated from their words into yours. Perhaps that's best. That's how I approached it right at the very start. So, hope that helps you. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for watching. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, and at least give us a thumbs up. Bye for now.